Alright, this one needs a wash really badly. Like, I don't think it ever has been washed since the guy owned it. You can see where I fixed the seat. Then see how this came out kind of rough? Normally that doesn't happen. You got to get this stuff. See how up top it's kind of nice and smooth? When you apply this stuff, you got to be quick with it. And you can use your finger, add moisture, with a glove, and add it and just put it in nice and smooth, and then it won't come out looking all shitty and rough like that. So that was a little bit of a goof up, but then the end of the world. It's still far better than it was. I'm out of that stuff. I gotta buy another tube of it. If I wanted to, I could go very thin, one more line over it and smooth it out. Here's the deck. I repainted it. It was that silver color. I gave it I went pretty quick on this one. Wire wheeled it where it had, paint was coming off and it got, surface rust. Primed those areas and then painted it black. And then it started to rain, like right after. There's still a couple areas I can see, almost kind of see the primer. So when this dries, I'm gonna have to give it one more quick hit. But otherwise, where the rust is gonna be under the center. The outside of it, the sides of it are in decent looking shape. So that's good. It had one area where it was splitting. I'm gonna add Dynaflex to that too. That's why I need a tube of that. While this thing's sitting here, just figured, let you know, this one's probably not gonna make it. The main death blow being that gas tank. They're $200 tanks. If the tank wasn't shot, I'd probably be willing to give it a go. But nah, this one's most likely gonna be torn down. And it's starting to drizzle again, but luckily what I'm doing is washing this thing anyway, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hopefully it doesn't rain heavy, right? This thing needs a wash bad. And then the only other thing to do will be that muffler. Hit that with a wire wheel. Touch it up with some black high heat. And that's it. She should be ready. So, oh yeah, and a couple touch-ups, like right here. No big deal. This, hopefully when I go to shine it up, it'll hide most of that little bit of roughness. Alright, let me get a bucket of water, soap and water. And before anybody says anything, it's just too rough. It's loose. You know what I'm saying? Loose, like it's been worked hard. I'm not sure if that's just loose up top, but the whole damn thing is just, it's sat outside. It's got moss on areas you would not see it. It's jacked up, you know what I mean? And then the deck, being as though that broke off right there, that piece of the arm that broke is still there. It's under there. That whole thing would have to be cut off to put another arm on there. I think that was a poor design. You see on these ones, the arm connects and unhooks. That's how they should have done it on that too. They shouldn't have had those welded, because that was a weak point. Gave up. But this thing, 18 years old, and you can tell it worked hard. The property I got it from was a large property with a lot of trees and a lot of leaves. So this thing got worked. So we know I got $1,000 here in parts. That's most likely what's going down with that. All right, let's get started on this thing. Get this out of here. So this is where I'm at when it starts to rain. Especially, on a day you need to wash something, it's tough fucking luck. You know what I mean? But for other things, too. It's tough fucking luck, pretty much. If it rains, tough luck. That's how it cracks. So it takes 1/3 of all the time I have to work. Every time it rains or does something stupid that I can't control, I can't come out here and work because my tools will get wet and I'll get all wet. It sucks. Alright, get my soap bucket. Yeah, so my thoughts while we're at it is, let's go back over the subject of luck. It exists, but it's something you have zero control over. So anything you have control over in your life isn't luck. That's you. If it was something that happened that you had absolutely nothing to do with, good, then that's good luck, right? Being born into money, that could be good luck, right? If it doesn't come with bullshit, right? But I don't know. Everybody has good and bad luck. It's just some people have more good luck than others, and some people have more bad luck than others. But everything else in life, you have control over. It's you. It's got nothing to do with luck. The choices you make, the attitude you carry, places you go, nothing to do with luck at all. So I figured I'd just mention that, because that's the only time luck applies, is when you have zero control over it. So if you're born into money, you're lucky. That also means somebody probably worked their ass off for it, and you just happen to be reaping the rewards of it now. You know, they either did something or they worked their ass off, and that's how they got their family wealthy, and you just happen to be born into it. But that don't mean that somebody at some point didn't bust their ass. That's lucky. Alright, let me get this soap bucket filled up. Got nothing against dogs, but this guy, he lets this hound dog, 2 of them, bark all day usually. That's unacceptable. Nothing against the animals at all, but that's a bad pet owner. It's not the dog's fault. Should be trained properly, not to be barking all day. Yeah, I just wanted to go over, you know, when you fix and flip these things, you gotta wash them. That's part of the deal. I just figured I'd let you all know this is my least favorite part. It really is. I would much rather be just fixing them, you know what I mean? So, but that's the direction I'm probably heading. Like I said, this is still small time, but you know, if I could just sit here and fix them all day, fix engines all day, and not worry about what they look like, that's fine with me. Because detailing, it's a lot of work. It's almost one of the most hardest parts, is getting these things to really shine, gleam back at you. But it's part of it, so we're getting there. It's time consuming, it's wet, it's what it is. So, especially when they're really dirty ones. That thing is a rust bucket. I mean, it's got it all over it. Front bumpers, the deck. I mean, it's all surface for the most part. In there, under there, right there where the paint's shipping off. I don't know. I might see about just listing this thing for $500 as is. See if somebody takes it. But that's low. That engine's worth $350 by itself. So I don't know. We'll see. But there would be a lot of detailing involved with this one, besides the repairs. Here's what happens when an engine slowly leaks oil and picks up dirt, and a lot of it. Look at how grimy that is. See? This thing's probably leaking oil from someplace. Either a valve cover or even worse, a head gasket, but it doesn't have the symptoms of it. Where it was at one point and it got repaired. But before it got repaired, you see all this dirt, the oil picked up? That's grimy. That's grimy. That's a pretty bad one. I mean, this stuff is like, look at that. So I just wanted to show that because it's no good. You can't let an engine leak oil and run it, or else this is what's going to happen. And this isn't good. So also, the older motors had aluminum plenum. The newer ones are plastic. I figured I'd point that out. I forget what year they changed over. These are built a little bit better. Now they're all made in China, but they're making these out of plastic now, and there's an issue with that too sometimes. Can I get her open without having to deal with that? No. Most people know what I'm talking about already. That sucks. God. Well, anyway. Can you see? No, that sucks. I can't show it. Hey, it came down. Yay. Can't do it one-handed. What? See? See the plenum? It's plastic on that one. Prone to warping from heat. Whereas aluminum won't. Can't really. It's one metal that does not bend. It only breaks. Aluminum does not bend. It can crack, but it won't bend like steel. Just figured I'd show that because there are differences. There's a few other differences too on the older ones. I forget. There's something inside internally that's better on the older ones. I think it's yeah. Camshaft is a one-piece solid metal wheel. The newer ones are a cog. That stupid cheap shit where they're cut out like a cog. So that's how the newer ones are made. That's not as good. And I don't know, there might be a couple other small differences, but those are the two big ones. Two areas where they cut to save money. If someone ever says you're grimy, that's a very bad thing. Figure I'd show this real quick. This engine must have had 2 blown head gaskets at one time, because if you look under here, see, it's just filled with shit. Grimy, oily, dirt shit. Both sides. I think this side was even a little worse. You see it all? I don't think they're still blown, because it runs fine now. But I think at one point, I don't know if they were both blown at the same time, probably not. Then you wouldn't have been able to operate it. But with a V-twin, one blew. He probably had it fixed. Then the other blew. He ran it, and then he had it fixed. And that's how all this shit caked up in here like this. This is something you won't find on a single cylinder, because once the head gasket blows on a single cylinder, it will not run. Or it'll run really poorly. So they'll know right away. On a V-twin, you can go on one cylinder for a while. You'll notice it, you know. It's not like it's not going to be noticeable, but you can operate a V-twin with a blown head gasket, one blown head gasket, and then once both blow, that's when it's over. You need to have them both replaced. But the amount of crap up under here like this tells me They had to have been blown. There's no way. Shit like that doesn't just build up on its own. I mean, I'm sure he was mowing in very dirty, dusty conditions as well, which didn't help, which is what picked up all this grime. But oil was leaking, and that's what picked it up. The oil, all this oil that was leaking out from these head gaskets was leaking out. He was mowing in very dusty conditions, and it was picking up all this oil. Well, it was picking up, the oil was picking up the dirt and caking it onto the machine. Right in these areas, mainly under the valves, the heads and valves. And then it worked its way to all these other areas. But that's why when something goes wrong, you fix it immediately. Or you start having problems like this. This is no good. It's not good for anything when you have caked up oil all over the front of a motor. You know what I mean? Like, you can see it's in the cooling fins. That affects everything. So, but yeah, this thing definitely. Because look, it's coming right out from under the shield. So yeah, it was definitely a blown head gasket that finally was repaired at one point. Because if it hadn't been repaired, it wouldn't be running right now, it wouldn't be operating right now. And I know when I started it at first, it smoked, and the reason why was because there was oil on this pipe. So it was burning off oil that was on this pipe. And that's what happened. So, but I could see it up, you know, in there. You really can't, but there's grime up in there. Yeah, see it? Look at it all. So, but I'm getting it off now. A lot of this will be hidden by the shield. But yeah, you gotta clean this shit off. That's part of this whole thing. That was definitely one of the filthiest engines I had as far as grime's concerned. I mean, I've had a few bad ones, but this was definitely the worst one in recent memory. But it's looking good from all points of view now. But that's that. These sponges, garbage. The water that's left over, that was purple. That was turtle wax, fresh turtle wax water. Look at it now, filled with garbage. Couple brushes. Look at all these brushes. They gotta be chucked. That's it. They get one use. Once they got that on there, they're not. That shit's not coming off. That one can still be used. Maybe. But yeah, that was really bad. So it took just, I don't know, 45 minutes just to clean this engine to within making it reasonable. See, you don't want this shit showing. When you go to sell it, you don't want any of this crap showing. Alright, a little bit more and then engine's done. Damn sure I better get 1100 for this sucker when it's all said and done. Just cleaning that engine off was work, real work. That was the worst of it though. Now the rest of it's just grimy dirt. It's gonna be fun cleaning them tires, because the tires gotta be clean too. But you know what, this deck, it's the heavy duty gauge with the extra roller. That helps. Bagger obviously helps. So, alright, here we go. Onto the chassis. I already did the... No? Yeah, I did the inside of the... I did the front grille. Well, I did a lot of it already. That helps. Bagger's got to be done. This is no joke. Less talk, the more I get done, the quicker it'll get done. So... But see how this is a Hydra, but it's a... I think it's an 04. Compared to that red one I had in December. This has got a good unit. What's that say? Hydro gear, right? It's metal, all metal. That's a good unit. I like that plastic one they had in that other unit. It doesn't buck. It's not all tight like the other one was. Remember I was saying this is all tight. This is nice. Big difference.